known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Welcome to Stoppage Time. I am Carmine Bianco. EPL is on break for a little while with some FA Cup games, some EFL Cup games, but we have found 4 games to talk to you about on today's show. We are going to do a Serie A game, Lazio and AC Milan. We're going to do both of the EFL Cup semifinals, the Leg 1 fixtures, Southampton, Newcastle, and Nottingham Forest, and Man United. And we're going to go to the Bundesliga as it has restarted, and we're going to do a matchup between 2 of the top 4 sides in Freiburg and Eintracht Frankfurt. Joining me from WagerTalk.com, it's Nick Borman, Kevin Dolan, and Bryan Powers. Let's bring the guys in. Bryan, I'll go to you first since you're waving on the screen there. How are things? How was your weekend?
Well, obviously, we're dusting ourselves off a bit from a real frustrating loss on Buffalo. I could tell you all the reasons I like Buffalo on Sunday, but that is water under the bridge now. I certainly would not want to reopen old wounds with you, Carmine, on that one. But in soccer, it was a very good weekend. It was a perfect 5-0 Saturday and Sunday on the pitch. And we bring a 7-1 run overall into Tuesday. Have a 4% best bet in the Bundesliga this afternoon. I also like a game we'll be talking about here on the show.
Awesome. Very good start. I got to watch a few of the games this weekend over at Circa. I was there Wednesday to Sunday, came back last night, so I'm kind of recovering from the time change and flight. And I think the most enjoyable game for me as a whole, and even betting wise while I was in Vegas, was the Manchester City Tottenham game. Although I wasn't happy with the first half score. Tottenham get a couple goals late in the first half, and that one to go up 2-0, and I'm sitting on Man United minus 1.5. Both teams score and over 2.5 at plus money, and then not United, City, and then City to win and over 3.5 goals at a nice big plus price. And that comeback was phenomenal. 4 goals in the second half. They win 4-2 and all those cash. That's now the 8th time in 10 games at home in Premier League play that City have won and gone over 3.5 goals. And those are always plus money prices that I always try and harp on my favorite Irishman, Kevin Dolan. Kev, how are things, my friend? Some great UFC fights on Saturday as well.
I mean, possibly. I don't watch UFC, so I'm not really the guy to talk to, but I'll take your word for it. Interesting week for me, because I had the in-laws round. Now, that doesn't sound like an interesting week, but what was good about it was I made my excuses, and I disappeared into my office, told them I had work to do. I didn't have any work to do. I'd done all my handicapping for the day, but I actually spent a full 6-7 hours, the entire day, delving into XG. I just wanted to kind of know, because we talk about it so much on the show, why Understat, Infogol, Opta, XG Philosophy, why they all have different numbers lined up. And, it was a really interesting experience, because they just base it off different things. Understat is one that we mentioned on this show. Bryan's mentioned. I think it's one we all use. Theirs is based purely off chances created. I think Infogol uses a tighter model. Opta includes pressure data. So, I took loads of stuff from that. I applied it starting from Friday, and we went 8 and 11 over the weekend. So it's definitely something I'm going to be doing as we move forward, incorporating more and more, especially that pressure data. I like that in terms of adding it onto the XG that we already use. So, maybe beginner's luck, but as I said, definitely something I look to be keeping an eye on moving forward.
Yeah, and they do calculate them differently, and we're going to go to Nick next on this one. The one site that I had access to that I used a lot, and I've sort of gravitated away from totals more than I did before, was Opta, and I had an account with them, or access to someone's account with them, and you can see their projected numbers for games. It was unbelievable, actually, in MLS. So I think I'm going to gain access to that account again and get those projected numbers. Again, their data I was very good with and clicked at a good percentage. So I think I need to get back on that up the horse. Nick, Mr. XG, what's going on?
You can still get the Opta data. The FBref.com is now using Opta's data for their XG numbers. Won't project anything, but it will tell you exactly what the Opta is recording for even down to every single player shot. But anyway, all's good. Carmine had a 5% loser, unfortunately, in soccer over the weekend. Newcastle did not get the job done against Pals, but rebounded with a 5% winner in golf over the weekend, which is, of course, Kevin's favorite, and the Australian Open, profitable so far. A couple days left as we're down to the quarterfinal stage at this point now, so hopefully we can finish that on a high note. Of course, quiet week this week, midweek in soccer, but looking forward to navigating through it and getting 1 month away for the MLS. So reminder that we still have that promo going on, early bird through the rest of this month.
Yep, and get to it we will. So let's get going with this one. We'll look at the first game on the card, which it is a Serie A game. Lazio and AC Milan. The numbers on this one, Lazio plus 202 at home. The draws plus 242. AC Milan plus 135. Some nice plus prices right across the board. If you like these ones, Bryan, I'm going to go to you first on this one. AC Milan, like they sit second, defending champions on 38 points, 12 back of Napoli, who seem to have run away with this. But they haven't been impressive of late. It just seems like it is a two-player team right now with Rafael Leal and Hernandez in the back. I don't know what's wrong with this team right now. They just don't seem to be playing as well defensively as they have before. 20 goals conceded, 35 scored. Still a very impressive numbers, but not the AC Milan of last season. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, we'll get to AC Milan here in a moment, but this is the first time, guys, we've had a chance to talk since Thursday, at least on the airwaves. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think something pretty significant happened here in the Italian top flight, no? Obviously, the crazy situation at Juventus docked 15 points for their accounting irregularities in the transfer dealings. And, with Inter dropping all 3 points at home yesterday, a real shocker. This is a huge 3 points between these two sides here in the race for the top four. You mentioned Napoli, Carmine. They are going, in my opinion, to win this. It would be a shocker if they blew this league, blew first place. So that basically leaves us with a 4-horse race for the other 3 Champions League spots. You've got these two, as well as Inter and Atalanta. And Kevin referenced XG. I knew I liked Kevin because I'm not above, going to the office to study XG for 6 hours to avoid my in-laws as well. And, let's look at Lazio here. Over the last 4 seasons, they have overachieved by 40 goals on XG. I believe that's number 1 in all of Europe. That's insane. Again, 40 goals. They haven't overachieved quite as much this campaign, but there is a notable gap between them and the other Champions League hopefuls when it comes to expected points. And, okay, you wonder, when is this regression possibly going to be forthcoming for Lazio in goals scored? Well, how about with Immobile, their leader in goals scored and leader in XG, being out? AC Milan, you referenced it, Carmine, the struggles recently, winless in 4 straight competitions. But I'm looking for them to get it together here. Because you look at these recent results, they should have beaten Roma back on January 8th. They blow a 2-0 lead. Were they not up like 2-0, like going to the 86th or 87th minute? I mean, that was a late 2-0 lead that they blew and had to settle for the draw. They exit the Coppa Italia against 10-man Torino. That's one they should have won. The early own goal cost them against Lecce. And then I throw out the 3-0 loss to Inter over in Saudi Arabia. That feels like an outlier effort to me. A side this good, not likely to go 5 in a row without winning. And I hate the word momentum. Really hate it, but Champions League's right around the corner, and AC Milan needs a win. Love them to win and get the full 3 here at the plus price. Give me AC Milan to win today.
All right, like Nick, I referenced AC Milan's great season that they had last year. One thing they avoided last year was injuries. Injuries is one thing that they're experiencing this year. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to talk more about the total here than the side because I'm struggling a little bit with the side. And it's funny, Bryan mentioned what's going on in general in Serie A as far as Juve dropping those points, and then the top four kind of a tighter race at this point. I have in my notes here that AC Milan may be a team worth betting not to finish top four. Let me explain that real quick because it does sound a little crazy. And really, it was just me analyzing their schedule so far and really their away schedule. So as far as a betting side this year, Milan on the road are 1-4-4 in 9 matches against the spread. They do have 4 wins. They beat Salernitana, Verona, Empoli, and Sampdoria, which, let's be honest, who cares? I mean, Empoli is the best ranked team in that group, and they sit number 12 on the table. They failed to beat Lecce, Cremonese, and Sassuolo, settling for draws in all those. And they've only faced 2 quality teams, which is Atalanta, and then I guess Torino, because they're in the top half of the table, but they're not one of the top teams in the league. They have one of the weakest away schedules so far in the league. That's their list of teams they play on the road. That means the second half of the season, they got to play everybody at the top of the table. You couple that with Champions League, as Bryan mentioned, and if they make a run, even into the round of 16 or further, it becomes very difficult to juggle that schedule. So anyway, I didn't do anything at this point. I haven't even seen a number, but I just wanted to throw it out there that AC Milan may struggle to get points, especially on the road as they go into the second half of the season. It's a big reason I don't want to take them in this spot. They just haven't performed well and haven't been tested on the road this year. But what I do like and what has been consistent for Milan is that their over trend has been there all year. 13 of their 18 matches have finished over the total. 14 of them have seen both teams to score, and that's cashed. Both teams to score and over 2.5 has cashed in all 3 matches since the World Cup break. Lazio, another team I wouldn't trust. They're just 3-4-2 at home against the spread. Although, granted, they've only been dogs at home twice this year. They lost to Napoli, but they did beat Inter. But like Milan, though, their matches, at least at home, tend to favor goals as 6 of their 9 at Stadio Olimpico have finished over 2.5. And finally, this series has produced plenty of over. 6 of the last 7 have finished over 2.5, including each of the last 3 in this venue. I know Bryan mentioned Immobile is not playing in this match, but he really hasn't been their leading threat goal scorer that he has in the past anyway, so I'm not too worried that he's not on the field, but I think we can get there. It's even money right now at over 2.5, so I think it's a pretty good price to at least take a shot on seeing a couple goals in this match.
All right, there you go. Bryan Power and Nick Borman breaking down the Lazio AC Milan game while reminding me that Juventus was docked 15 points for some financial or accounting irregularities. We'll see if that gets reduced through the courts. But yeah, that wasn't great news that Nick tweeted out and tagged me in. But it's okay. I'll get you guys back. All right, let's get on to the first of 2 EFL semifinal games, Southampton and Newcastle. The odds on this one, Southampton plus 380, the draw is plus 265, Newcastle minus 130. This is leg 1 of obviously of 2 legs. The semifinals are over 2 legs. Kevin and I are going to look at this. I'm going to make it pretty quick on just summing it up and going to Kevin for a more detailed analysis of this one. This Newcastle, they're just phenomenal this year, sitting third, 10-9-1 in the EPL. A lot of draws, but they're picking up wins. A 33-11 goal differential and 15 games unbeaten in the Premier League. And as we've got the EFL Cup games, and then we've got the FA Cup games, and then back to the EFL Cup with no EPL games in between, that you're going to see the best lineups out for these teams as Castle go for I think their first trophy since 1955 in this one. Southampton's surprised Man City. Now, it wasn't the best Man City lineup, but it was still a very good lineup with Foden up front with Grealish and Alvarez. But 2-0 for a Southampton team that sits bottom of the league. I think their run ends here. I actually think Newcastle could win both of these games. I think they're up to a good start here. I love the job Howe's doing. I'm taking Newcastle minus 130 in this one. Kev? talk me off this one, or are you going a different route?
I can't talk you off it, Carmine. I've been super. I don't think there's been a more impressive team, even over Arsenal this year, than Newcastle. For me, it's still a head scratcher why Gareth Southgate continues to go with Pickford. Nick Pope's the best keeper in England by a country mile. Fewest goals allowed in the league. Number one on post-shot expected goals. Number one on post-shot expected goals on target. The only thing Pickford beats him at, actually, is number of goal kickouts. So. He's a large part of why Newcastle's defence has been so elite this season. He's probably a large part of the reason why Burnley were able to stay in the EPL so long, season after season. Fantastic acquisition last year. I like Newcastle, but this is a cup game. And generally, when I'm betting cup games, I just like to focus on props. Look, you mentioned last time out, Southampton knocked out Man City. I mean, cup games are just... They always kind of, throw a spanner in the works. I like to just throw pizza money on some props. And I'm willing to take a punt with Che Adams here on Southampton to be anytime goal scorer plus 350. I quite like those odds. He already ranks as the joint top scorer in the League Cup this year. He's bagged half of all Southampton's goals so far in this competition. Scored a brace against Lincoln City, so he's on form. And even as a potential sub here, you wouldn't write him off from potentially getting on the score sheet again. So yeah, I mean, I'm willing to risk some pizza money on Che Adams to get on the score sheet here plus 350 on Tuesday.
All right, Kevin Dolan, and the surprising thing about that game against Southampton is the fact that they still. In protecting that lead, they still kept City off the score sheet, which is almost nearly impossible to do this season. And even with that initial lineup that City had out there, they brought on Kevin De Bruyne in the 46th minute. They brought on Erling Haaland in the 56th minute. He's on 25 goals. He's been unstoppable in the Prem League, and they still could not break down Southampton teams. So while I like Newcastle, you wonder about these leg one games. Nobody wants to. You don't win a tie in the first leg, but you can certainly lose one in the first leg. So we'll see what happens in this one before they head to Newcastle. All right, let's look at a Bundesliga game up next. And this is two top four sides. The odds on this one: Freiburg plus 152. The draw is plus 254. Frankfurt plus 173. Kev, I'm going to go to you first on this one, right back at you on this one. I avoided the Bundesliga games, so that's why I put you and Nick on this. I think you guys do a little bit better than I do. So give me your thoughts on this one.
I like Freiburg in this one, Carmine. I've already fired on it as well. I was on Wolfsburg at the weekend, which, thankfully was one of the easier winners I had on Saturday. They won in that 6-0 rout, but... that was mainly down to Wolfsburg's strong home form, which I outlined in the breakdown, along with Freiburg's kind of patchy away form as well. And that's something that's going to factor strongly into tomorrow's game here. At home this season, Freiburg have been a much, much different animal than they have been on the road. Their expected goals differential is about 1.5 goals more at home than it has been on the road this year. That's a massive gulf. They ranked top 6 in both defensive XG and defensive XGA this year at home as well. And they also ranked number 1 in total goals allowed at home. They've gave up 5 all season inside Europa Park Stadium, 0.71 per game on average. So this is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde team from home form to road form, as they showed at the weekend against Wolfsburg. And while Frankfurt's road form has actually been pretty good this year, they ranked top 2 in the league away from home this season on total points gained. They've banked 14 points for a possible 21 this year. They ranked joint second in offensive scoring as well. Their road schedule just hasn't been all that tough. Mainz, Augsburg, Gladbach, Stuttgart, Werder Bremen. Only one of those teams ranked top half in the league this year. So this is going to be a huge step up for them in quality for Frankfurt in this one, at least over their recent road trips, which we've outlined. And these two teams actually changed positions from those weekend results from second to fourth, based off those results. So Freiburg will be absolutely chomping at the bit to get back into the win column here, take back that second position. especially after getting embarrassed by Wolfsburg on Saturday as well. So, yeah, Freiburg for me in this one at Peckham. They are a very, very strong home team, and I like them to get the job done here.
All right, I like it, Kev. Good luck with that play. And we will do a recap at the end of the show when we find out what the Cappers have up at Wager Talk, and we'll put their leans up on the screen as well. Nick, final word on this one. I enjoy watching this Frankfurt team just because they score goals. I think they're second only to Bayern Munich, who have scored 50 this year, and they're on 35, but they're still enjoyable to watch. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, the defending Europa champs, Frankfurt for sure. Kevin mentioned the switch of table here in these teams, and behind Bayern, the Bundesliga is jammed. I mean, you got 6 teams within 4 points of spots 2 through 7, so it's very tight. This match means a lot, and I have in my notes here that it takes big cojones to go to take a Freiburg team that's coming off a 6-0 loss, and then you of course look at the other side on Frankfurt coming off their 3-0 win. And I agree with Kevin. That's exactly the way I would look to play this too, because most people are not going to do that, and that might just provide a little bit of value here. But Kevin nailed it on the head with how good Freiburg has been at home. They lost their very first match of the year against Dortmund. But since then, they've been unbeaten in 6 matches with 5 wins and 1 draw. They averaged 2.48 expected goals per game since that loss at home, which is very, very strong. I mean, those are Bayern-like numbers. And they allowed just 1.23 expected goals during that run as well. So I like them to bounce back here, but I'm looking at a slightly different angle overall, and that's just take both teams to score. It's a little higher price, about minus 165 right now. But really Frankfurt, they're not a team that gets held off the score sheet very often. They've scored in all but 1 on the road this year. The problem is their defense. They did in every road match, all 7 of them this season. And then we mentioned Freiburg's good offensive numbers at home. So you have to think they're going to rebound here and get back on the scoreboard. It's very unlikely they're going to go back-to-back games without outscoring. They've only been held, Freiburg, that has only been held scoreless at home once this year. So I just think that the goals are going to be coming their way. And, whenever you're off an embarrassing loss like that, no matter what professional sport you're playing, it's very profitable to look at that team coming off that and blowout loss and try to back them any way you can that following match, because these guys don't like to lose, and they don't like to lose big like that. So I think there'll be a lot of motivation on the Freiburg side to get a goal. I just don't trust them defensively as either. So I'm going to take the both teams to score option. I don't care who wins, but I do agree with Kevin. If I'm taking a side, I'm going to go with Freiburg and the home side on this one.
Nick Borman of Wager Talk with the Pablos Lagaretos, I don't care who wins slogan. Love it, Nick. All right, let's look at the final game on the card. And this is the second EFL Cup semifinal. Nottingham Forest and Man United. The odds on this one, Forest plus 432 at home. The draw is plus 281. Man United minus 148 in this one. Bryan and I are going to look at this one. Listen, Forest has done a fantastic job of dragging themselves out of one of those 3 relegation spots, picking up points in 6 of their last 7 games. They sit 4 points above 17th now. Still not safe, but their focus is on this one here at this point. And of those 7 games where they picked up points, their only loss was at Old Trafford against this United squad, 3-0. I mentioned at the top of the show about us seeing the best possible lineups in this one, and you'll see the best possible lineup out of United in this one. They have a Saturday EFL Cup game, a Saturday FA Cup game, but that is against Reading, and it's at Old Trafford. So you figure that, and that's the round of 16. So you figure if they're going to rest players, it'll be done on Saturday. So we're going to see their best team here, and they're off of dropping 5 of a possible 6 points, losing last time out to Arsenal 3-2 at the Emirates. So they're going to want to get right back into that win column. They're going to want to take this tie over and take it over now. So I'm going to take United minus 148 in this one, and we'll see if Brian Power talks me off of this one.
No, Carmine, I'm in agreement with you. I'm going to be looking to play against Forest here and probably in the immediate future as well. This is a side, you talk about how they fought their way away from the relegation zone, but they still have the second worst goal differential in the Premier League, guys. And they're in 13th place thanks to the win over Leicester City, and then they have the draw against Bournemouth, where they needed a late equalizer just to get the point. But the thing is, you look at who Forest has beaten recently, all bottom of the table sides. Leicester, Southampton. And they needed penalties to beat Wolves here in the EFL Cup, and it should be noted in other cup action, the FA Cup, they lose to second-tier Blackpool by a score of 4-1. So I'm not sold on Forest, this being any kind of renaissance. I still think they're one of the weaker sides overall. Kevin did make an excellent point earlier on about handicapping cup play versus league play. Certainly, Forest has been very good at home, scored in 10 consecutive matches here, unbeaten their last 8, but you referenced it, Carmine. Last time these teams met, 3-0 Man U. And I agree, we're going to get a strong starting 11 for Man U out there. And you mentioned the loss to Arsenal. Call me crazy. I think Man U is going to be in a pretty surly mood here when they take the pitch. Not just the loss to Arsenal, but they give up the late equalizer to Crystal Palace the match before that. It was just last week, guys. We were talking about Man U in the most glowing of terms. 9 straight wins across all competitions. I think they get back on track here and get the win in the first leg over Nottingham Forest.
All right. I'm glad we are in agreement on this one. Bryan, that 3-2 win by Arsenal was an impressive one. And then obviously there was a bit of a dust-up between a couple of the players on the field, Anthony and Bruno Fernandes. And I cannot repeat what Anthony said to Bruno Fernandes, because it would also be my last day at Wager Talk if I said that on the YouTube channel. So we'll just leave that, and you guys can search for it on one of the BBC Sport websites. All right, let's get into our recap and see what everyone's got up. Kev, I'm going to go to you first. Tell us what you have up at Wager Talk, and we'll get your leans up on the screen.
I can't believe no one mentioned Frank Lampard's firing either. I'm very sad. I'm very sad about that. But apart from that, we got 6 soccer players loaded up between today and tomorrow. A ton of action over in Europe. Really like some of the games over in the German and Dutch courts especially. And we've been hammering those leagues over the last week or so. So, that's been good. Hockey's been going really well as well. 11-3 run right now. We got plays up for today. Regulation money lines have been red hot. And I really don't want to say this, but it's my birthday on Friday. I turned the big 4-0. I feel really old right now. And damn, because of that, we got a special up right now. 7-day all access of all my plays for only $40, hence the age thing, which knocks $59 off the regular price. So it is a great deal. Use code DOLAN40, DOLAN 40 to take advantage of that. And hopefully I can cheer myself up with some winners as I say goodbye to my 30s. Very sad.
I can't believe you're 40. I had you pegged for like mid 50s. Like I'm about to
Oh man,
there's no need for that, Carmine. There's no need for that. That's
but if you check Twitter, apparently the Babylon Bee account is talking about Frank Lampard, and he might take over the job for Ireland, their national team. So that would be very interesting. Good luck, Frank, with that one. Nick, I'm going to go to you next. Tell us what you have up at Wager Talk, and we'll see your leans up on the screen.
Oh, happy early birthday to you, Kev. Right now, I do have a Bundesliga 3-pack going today. That's Tuesday. All 4%, or excuse me, all 3 4% best bets. And I do have my golf pack up for this week's event at Torrey Pines, and that kicks off actually on Wednesday this week. They're going Wednesday to Saturday, so they don't compete with NFL Championship Sunday and having the final round there. So that kicks off, or tees off rather, tomorrow. And then with a slower week in soccer, I'll have more plays coming throughout the week, but probably not a lot of volume this week. So look for more as they come in the coming days.
Find the value, Nick, and I appreciate it. So, and good luck with those plays. Bryan, I'll go to you next. What's up at Wager Talk? And we'll have a look at your leans.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back to my 40th birthday, and I can just tell Kevin, no matter what happens, it's going to be a good week for you, buddy. I rest assured. As somebody who had a 40th birthday party, it's guaranteed to be a good time. I mentioned the 7-1 soccer run at the top. Have the 4% best bet winner in the Bundesliga this afternoon. And then we've got 4 basketball plays going for tonight as well. By far the best value. Just get the complete card, $17, 1 day all access. I really would stress making that your option here on Tuesday, as it will get you 6 plays overall, 2 soccer, including AC Milan, which we talked about already, 2 college basketball, and 2 NBA. So $6 or 6 plays, pardon me, $17. Pretty good deal, if I say so myself.
And with that, Brian, before I go to my leans, I'm going to mention, if you're going to grab that, I think you have to grab that early, because those prices are actually going to be coming down today. I think it was a special that was supposed to end on Sunday or Monday night. So if not, you'll be able to get them today. But I believe that's what the special is. Right now, for me, up at WagerTalk, and we're talking about coupons as well too, is one NHL play up right now, and a few more to be added. It is a 5% play up in the NHL, and have a couple soccer plays loaded shortly as well too. You can use Bianco 10 if you're buying the NHL 5% play, and you'll get $10 off of that play as well. Guys, while there's no EPL games this coming weekend, we will still have a show on Thursday. We'll look at a couple of FA Cup games. We will look at a couple of the interesting games across the other 4 big leagues in Europe, and I'll have a big Champions League promo as that is set to kick off in just a little under 3 weeks' time, the knockout stages. So we'll have a great deal up on Thursday's show. So for myself, Nick Borman, Kevin Dolan, and Brian Power, this is Stoppage Time. Best of luck with your wagers, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.